Your child already has support, but things still feel hard. Your child has support in school. So why does it still feel like something isn't working? Maybe you're hearing things like, they're coping, but the environment is very overwhelming for them. We're doing everything we can, but progress is limited. And you're left wondering, if support is in place, why is school still so hard? Will my child always feel unhappy or out of place, no matter the school? When the reality is that even with full-time SEN support, your child still isn't feeling comfort, progress, belonging or joy. It's natural to start questioning whether a different setting might better meet their needs. So in this video, I'll unpack why we may feel that something more is needed, even when support is already in place. I'll explore why this happens and what it might be telling us, and how we can use this insight to make more informed decisions about whether their current educational setting truly meets their needs, all with the goal of ensuring that their well-being and progress comes first. My name is Brenda and I'm a parent mentor and a fellow parent. I support parents raising children with individual needs and differences to stay empowered whilst they navigate through procedural challenges. And for me, it started with me having the trust that mainstream education for my child who is living with autism and ADHD was the best fit. And I trusted that, especially as he had what was deemed as full-time special educational needs support. But I soon learned that support doesn't guarantee his comfort, progress, belonging or joy. And this is where it became natural for me to wonder whether another setting would better fit his needs, and to also question what truly matters beyond the support. As thorough special educational needs support follows an ongoing cycle of assessing, planning, doing and reviewing to ensure a child receives the right help. And this can include a range of strategies, working with a teaching assistant using visual support, breaking down tasks, seeking specialist input or adapting the classroom environment, all with the aim of meeting a child's individual needs and supporting their progress in both learning and development. And for those of us who see our child truly benefit from this, it can make a world of difference, and it helps them feel safe, supported, included in their learning right alongside their peers. But sometimes the question isn't just about support, it's about environment. And where doubts start to arise, they usually fall into these three interconnected areas, and the first one is their social and emotional vulnerability. Social safety and inclusion are as critical as academic support. Full-time teaching assistant provision cannot automatically shield a child from peer victimisation. Difficulties with friendships, experiences of bullying or raising anxiety can signal the environment feels unsafe or overwhelming. Let's say that Jamie, for example, had many friends in primary school but struggled to form new friendships at secondary school. Jamie's challenges aren't just academic, it's social, even with full-time provision. Or there's Imi. Imi is being targeted by persistent bullies. Even in a school that is rated as outstanding, may not fully prevent or mitigate bullying, leaving a child feeling perhaps unsafe. Another area is where there's a mismatch between the support and the environment. This highlights the question as to, can a well-resourced mainstream school still be structurally or socially unsuitable for some children with individual needs or differences? In my experience, full-time support in a large mainstream setting is not exactly the equivalent to feeling safe or appropriately supported. What I mean by this is that the presence of a teaching assistant, for example, or let's say a base unit provision, does not necessarily counteract sensory overload, rapid classroom pace, or complex peer dynamics. Even with the constant adult support, the sensory demands and the social expectations of a busy classroom may remain overwhelming. And this raises the question, can support from a teaching assistant truly compensate for an environment that is itself overstimulating, socially challenging, or emotionally unsafe? A child may still experience anxiety, exclusion or vulnerability, indicators that mainstream environment may not be adequate regardless of the level of support provided. And this is always on an individual basis. And another area is observed better outcomes in an alternative setting. Doubts may arise from seeing firsthand that mainstream settings, even with substantial support, may not always be able to provide the conditions necessary to allow for 100% emotional safety and well-being. And in contrast, smaller and more specialised settings often offer a more holistic, responsive form of support. And this is not to suggest that an alternative provision is universally superior, rather to suggest that some children thrive when placed in smaller specialist or condition-informed environments that can lead to noticeable gains in emotional stability and regulation, as emotional and sensory challenges can persist regardless of full-time support, raising doubts about whether mainstream is enough for overall well-being. And as a parent, it can be inevitable to be holding on to hope that things would just pan out given time, but there are concerns around social differences for children living with individual needs and differences. So is it realistic to expect that there will be no impact? That's why becoming aware of these signs help us trust and understand why even with support, our child may still be struggling. And this is not to say that mainstream is the wrong setting, but rather an invitation to notice what can and what cannot be achieved, even with our involvement as we advocate for our children. As confident advocacy provides us with clarity, reducing confusion and emotional overwhelm around predicaments like these, and it helps us communicate more confidently with professionals and ask the right questions early, and ultimately it empowers us to make informed decisions about whether the current setting truly meets our child's needs, so that their well-being and their happiness and their progress always comes first. So if this video resonates with you, why not take a look at this video here? But for now, keep doing what you're doing. Stay focused, stay empowered, and keep creating progress. Thank you for listening.